he would share with us a lot of stories about the original, and also his life, which is fascinating.
So happy to be talking to you, India. How are you today?
I'm good. How you doing, Lupe?
I'm good, thank you. Well, congratulations on the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I was a fan of the original. I watched it religiously, so funny. And I started watching it, and it's like the same kind of feel, but a little more modernized. Um,
Yeah.
and you have some great one-liners.
Thank you. Yeah, the writers take care of us all. I'm very grateful to them.
And what was it like for you going into this project? Did you want a fresh start, so you didn't want to watch the old show, or how did you approach it?
I grew up in England, so I didn't have the same exposure to the show that a lot of my castmates did. But the minute that I found out I would be testing, I wanted to get a feel for the vibe of the show. So I checked it out, and then just sort of slowly started binging, and then throughout the series, I would drive on the way to work and just leave the phone on the seat playing so that I could hear the cadence and the music, just to try to really get a sense for the way that Night Court was originally, and make sure that I was being mindful of that while we were making our newer, updated version.
Now, what was it like? Did you talk to John Larroquete? Did you get any tips, or was there any research that you talked to him about?
I talked to him a lot about his. If I saw an episode that I thought was really funny of the original show, that he had done something specific that I really enjoyed, I would come into work and be like, "Hey, so tell me about that scene," or the specific actor that he'd worked with, or a moment I had enjoyed, and then he would share with us a lot of stories about the original, and also his life, which is fascinating. He is a fascinating human being, but he never felt. I never felt him. He always allowed every actor on the cast to find their own sense of what the show was in 2023. And he never stepped on anybody's toes. He was always incredibly respectful. But if you went to him and said, "Hey, I need help. Hey, can you give me an idea? Can you hook me up with a bid or something, or tell me what you think here?" He was the first person to step forward and offer his assistance. And I was always just so grateful to him for being an actor's actor.
And watching the new show, it reminded me what made the show great in that every week you're in one setting, but every week you have new cast of characters, new quirky um, criminals, I will say.
Yeah. Defendants, yeah.
Defendants, there we go.
Yeah.
Defendants. And so it's great that every week you have like an injection of new, right?
I
Isn't
mean,
that kind of a
honestly,
weird thing for series?
I think that's probably a lot of the reason why they decided to take Night Court and bring it back. Outside of the incredible John Larroquette, the show itself is a fantastic premise. It's a wonderful way to um, have a continuation of a storyline that almost never has to end, because every week we have these defendants come in that bring fresh blood to the show, and also because we don't take ourselves too seriously. We're not making a documentary about the legal system.
All right.
Making a lighthearted family comedy, so that allows a little bit of wiggle room in terms of what we can do with those guest stars, and the kind of unusual storylines they can have. And I think everyone who comes to Night Court on a Tuesday night knows that, so they're sort of along for the ride, which makes it a really lovely spot to be, and hang out with your family and come back and revisit us each week.
Yeah, I was reading the show has like 3.8 million viewers. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's been nuts. I think it premiered to like 7 point something million, and then of course, over time you find your audience, and
Right.
now we've been riding that for, I think, like 5 weeks, and it seems, knocking on all the wood, as if we've kind of found a fan base, and hopefully they stick around.
And I don't know if you're privy to this information, but any of the original actors, will they appear on the show? Or is there a tease?
I guess you'll have to tune in to find out.
Oh, I haven't seen all the episodes. I only saw four, but I was like, nobody
Hmm.
yet. Nobody yet.
I don't know, maybe.
And and when you came in for the audition or on the page, what was your character? Because in the first few episodes, you're a hard read, right? Because you're like hard knocks.
Yeah, I think the sides that I originally got were a scene between Olivia and Abby that never made it into the show, whereby Olivia is reluctantly asking Abby if she might maybe want to hang out, and so I immediately got the sense that Olivia is someone who doesn't do people, but also doesn't want to be alone. So is attempting to put out olive branches, but with very firm boundaries. And then moving into the series, it was very clear to me that she was very ambitious and driven, and not somebody that was willing to connect emotionally, really in part because she just didn't know how. No, she's never, I don't think she's ever really been loved or accepted. And Night Court, as time goes on, is one of the first places that does love and accept her. And so we start to see her love and accept Night Court back slowly in little glimmers. But my main goal coming into the show was I knew the parameters of what the character was and what she needed to be, but more than anything, she needed to be a human being that other people could connect with. So I was very focused on letting her vulnerability come through that hard wall.
Yeah, and I think second to the last episode, we get to know a little more about you, about your mother. I was like,
Yeah.
it's funny, but you're like, oh, why are we laughing?
Yeah, exactly. And who knows? I mean, I would love to get to meet this mother at some point, and find out a little bit more about why Olivia is the way she is.
Maybe she'll be a defendant. So she doesn't sound so perfect.
It's possible.
And what is it like when you have? I mean, this is the case for all series. You have a limited amount of sets, but in this case, you have even more limited because you're just confined onto the court, right?
I mean, honestly, it would be my preference to just stay on the court all the time. I love it so much. Multicam traditionally, you have your main sets and then you have your swing sets. So the train episode, for example, is a swing set, or we might shoot something in a bathroom. That's a swing set. The main sets that we have are the judges' chambers, 2 corridors, the courthouse, and the cafeteria. So they remain, and everything else comes and goes. And my favorite is when we stick to those main 5, because then we can also, from an audience perspective, stay right in front of the audience for the entirety of the filming of the show. Whereas when you switch to a swing set, you're on sets on the side that the audience can't see. So a lot of that gets pre-taped, which means you do it without the audience. And when they're not there, I miss them. But it's also fun to get for the audience, I think, to get to see the audience at home, to get to see additional sets and additional places. But it's all fun, and it all shakes out the way it's supposed to in the end.
Well, you reminded me about audiences. I forget that they still do that.
Oh yeah, every Friday night.
And so you prefer that?
Oh yeah, I love an audience. Please give me the audience. The audience, they're the other cast member of the show. It just, the magic wouldn't be there without them.